Get Donnie in there, who's been playing this video game. Tracy, there we go. Okay. Yeah, this is the technical, there we go. We on up?
We are on. Right now we have Tom Federally, Valerie and Jeff, and Barbara.
Albert Burgess.
Yes.
Turn them all on for a second. Yeah, we'll- Hi, Tom. Hi, Val.
Hi.
We're going to start our meeting now with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you be, hi, Barbara. And hi, Leanna. And hi, Beth. Hi, Rick. Hi, Jean. And hi, Ethno. If you could join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Not gonna stand up. Sorry, it's on my lap.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
To the republic for which it stands.
Nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
Some of you may not know our traditions, but we always continue on with a moment of silence for men and women in uniform. I want to add tonight that we're going to have a moment of silence and send our prayers and best wishes to a family who just lost their daughter today. So if you could join me for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. We have a number of people on. We're going to get to you when we get the public to speak. Adjustments to the, John, you're with us today. How are you, John? You can unmute John, please.
Fine, thank you, Steve.
Good. Okay, we just lost John. There he is.
Hello.
Okay, hi, John. Adjustments to the meeting. We've got a reserve for a crosswalk program that's going under number 6 for 21,000 and change. And also the drainage project on Allen for 31,000. That'll be under number 6.
Okay.
Anything else? Tracy? Okay, yeah, we have some correspondence from Selectman Egan that will be under number 9. We'll bring that up under the community concerns. Next up is to approve the minutes from April 21st. By the way, in attendance behind me is Donnie Nuttall, the vice chair, Dave Burgess, Ethan. Schaefer's with us. Is Cindy on? Okay, that's what we have this evening, along with Rebecca, Kayla, and Tracy, and Keith Savage to my right over here, our technical guru for Zooming. We all need a technical guru. We have a lot of you with us. So could I have a motion, please, for moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Okay. 4-0. Okay, let's get these people all unmuted. We have next up, public to speak. Let me start. Those that I have on that I can see your faces, if you have something under public to speak, if you could just do this, then I can see you. Jean Thorgelson, do you have something you'd like to say, dear?
I just want to talk about our duck race and ask you about your parade, if that's still on.
No, not yet. It's not on yet. We are going to have to wait for a better opportunity to find out where the government is going. From my understanding today, with discussions in Augusta, is there will be something more coming to us the day after tomorrow in terms of plan changes new approaches to managing the state, but as of this minute, we're going to have to probably say we don't know, but probably not. John, is that a fair assessment? Hello, John.
Hello?
Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, we can't say until we hear more from the state.
Okay.
Okay, my question to you, Steve, is, and to the selectmen, is that if the race, if the parade does not happen, can we still drop our ducks? Have people purchase ducks and drop our ducks? It's a fundraiser for us. If it wasn't a gathering, if it was just simply our staff doing it and we drop the ducks and still do the fundraiser. I can't hear you. Can you hear me, Steve? I can't hear you.
We can hear you, Jean.
Can you all hear me now?
We
Yes.
can.
I can hear you, yeah.
Unmute Jean. Jean Ferguson. She unmuted.
I'm here.
Jean, look on your screen and unmute you.
She's
I am-
unmuted. We can hear her.
I am unmuted. I am not muted. Can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Maybe Steve should use the phone line to call in, and that we get, the audio is good regardless from the town, because that'll be the most secure way to make it happen.
Jean, can you hear me now?
Yes, again. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Did that answer your question?
Well, you were muted when I asked my question. I couldn't hear
Okay.
you. So what was your answer?
In terms of the duck races, we understand it's a fundraising tool for you. If you're going to do it, we're going to have to find a way. So the short answer is yes, we don't have a problem with it, providing there's adequate social distancing, and we're not breaking any of the state laws, meaning more than 10 people. So you cannot clearly have that gathering on the Morton front lawn as you did before.
Right, right.
Dropping them in the river is not a problem,
Okay.
okay?
We'll have to do it at 5 a.m. when no one's around.
Okay, so if the smelts are on, then you might bump into somebody down there.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else have their hand up for something under public to speak? That's not on the agenda. Mark, are you all set? Okay. I have Kate Williamson, you're all set? Okay, I have Christopher Farmer, who's not in the room right now, but I don't know who Nick is. Do you have something you want to bring up? If not, just say you're all set, like yay.
Oh, yeah, good.
Thank you. I know, Daryl, you're all set. You're on the agenda after. Billy, do you have anything you want to bring up? No? Okay, and the others I can't see. Leanna, you're all set? Valerie? Thank you. Okay, next up is, we have in our packet, planning board regular meeting. Those are available to us. They're also available for you. Now we need to get through our consent items, so just bear with us for a minute. Liquor license for the gingerbread. Please. Comments, questions, concerns? No? All in favor? You have your license, Kate. Next up is Mingle Springs Golf Course. Liquor license. Moved and seconded. Comments, questions? All set? All in favor? Everybody's in favor? I don't know if we have anybody from Mingo on there, do we? No. Sewer reserve. Talk to us about sewer reserve for $4,641.
I'm thinking the Lord must be telling me that.
And for $750, they're gonna throw in 3 new spray guns, which are about $4,000 a piece brand new. They're discontinued through the company. They got their system and future endeavors of increasing our capacities.
Question from the board?
Yeah, I make a motion that we, sewer department's request in the amount of $4,641 upgrade the system.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor? So moved. Next up is, again, Keith from the Town Reserve, $21,641 for the crosswalk sidewalk. Questions?
Guilty compliance, right?
Anything out there in Zoom land? Okay. Hold on, Daryl. Are you in? Go ahead.
It's great to get these crosswalks done. It came in under budget, so I'm pleased that that can be done now when the weather's good.
Thank you.
Steve, we're having trouble hearing anybody but you.
Am I now?
So I'm not sure if there's anything that can be done on that.
Comes in or not.
Okay, we'll see if we can turn the volume up. Thank you, Chris.
Not up there.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve, Dominic logging to, perform, crosswalk work downtown, and take $21,641 from downtown revitalization.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion?
All in favor?
Talk about the Allen Street drainage next. He'll move closer to the microphone so you can all hear him.
Right, so Allen Street drainage, excuse me, is more or less an update. There was some changes needed as the season came. We noticed down on the lower end, there were some ponding issues. So we reworked some drainage there. On the upper end, there was a property purchase which changed plans a little bit. With that said, curbing will go up the road a little bit further by the school path down through David Haley's residence as we work down towards Aquasic Ave. And then also at the top of Allen Street, we noticed that the drainage did not get carried on to the top of the road. So those changes kind of equate to $31,000, but talks with the engineer through the changes, everything should wash out with quantities at the end of the project. So again, just an update with some drainage design.
So you don't need a motion for this here. All right, this is just for an FYI. Perfect. Next up, correspondence from the public library, a budget request reduction. We have a letter from Barbara Burgess, the treasurer, that states, please find attached the text of an upcoming mailing from the Rangeley Public Library to Rangeley and Aquasic Post Office box holders. The letter recaps what the library is doing over the past several weeks and outlines plans as we head into the summer months. Of particular note for elected officials is the library board's decision to reduce the amount requested from the municipal support by 25% for fiscal year. The library was approved for a PPL loan under the CARES Act. Accordingly, the library has maintained regular staffing levels, but has also decided to pass the loan figure plus additional amount onto the entire community. As the original request was submitted by a citizen petition, it is our understanding that the library request for a reduced amount should be included in the presentation at the upcoming budget meeting, and we plan to do so. In the interim, we want to appraise you of this news in time for the May 4th, 2020 meeting of the Select Board. Rangeley Library Association is deeply appreciative of the relationship between local municipal government and the library. Given the current economic uncertainty facing many of us, we believe that reducing the request for municipal support for this next year is another important way to support our community during this time. Truly yours, Barbara Burgess, Treasurer, Trustee of the Rangeley Library Association. We very much appreciate that effort. Obviously, everybody knows what a difficult time it is, but I want to thank you for that. Anybody have any questions? Everybody says thank you if you can't hear them. We don't have microphones at everybody, so they'll have to go through me. Is there anything from the public out there that's comments, questions, thank yous? Moving right along. Moving right along. Solar array update, Revision Energy, Nick Sampson, I believe he's there.
Yep. Yeah, right here.
How are you, Nick?
Good. How are you all doing?
Good, thank you.
Thanks so much for having me. So I just have a quick update basically to share on the proposed solar project for the Skowhegan site. We've moved through pretty much all of the development process. We're waiting on one final study by the utility, which is kind of just finishing things up. So we've signed the interconnection application for that project and are expected to start construction, or are aiming to actually this month or early June. And through the development process, we have found some savings from the original pricing that we had included for the project. And That has resulted in us being able to reduce the starting PPA rate by 0.5 cent for the town of Rangeley, if you're still interested in joining that project. So the original starting rate was 9 cents per kilowatt hour. With this change, it would be 8.5 cents. And that results in an additional savings of about $4,000, a little more than $4,000 a year for the town of Rangeley. And so that's basically what I have for updates. So we are working with the other towns that are looking to sign on to that project as well, and hoping to sign everyone up early on in May, so that we're ready to begin construction with that project as soon as possible, basically. So happy to answer any questions that the select board or anyone else attending the meeting has.
Okay, Nick, I'm going to start with Dave Burgess. Any questions? Donnie?
Yeah, is there room for all the people that want to be on this up in Skowhegan?
Oh, sorry, Steve, do you mind just repeating? I'm having trouble
Okay,
hearing.
The question he has, is there room for everybody to be on it that's up in Skowhegan?
So we are right now, if everyone, including the town of Rangeley, signed up, we would be oversubscribed by about 400,000 kilowatt hours a year. So what we could do is we could scale everyone's allocated production back by like 5% or something like that. Or say if the town of Rangeley decided, I know you're talking about some other projects. So say you decide you want to try to join the Saddleback project and you want to do half of your consumption with this project and then half with the Saddleback project, we could certainly be happy to scale back what we've proposed for production for the town of Rangeley. If all of the towns sign up except for the town of Rangeley, we'd probably be short a couple 100,000 kilowatt hours a year, but we definitely have a good pipeline of interested towns that we would most likely would be able to fill that with.
Anybody in the public? Any questions for Nick?
Yeah, this, you said it's 8.5 a kilowatt. That's the pricing? Is that fixed? Is that adjusted annual? Is it tied to some kind of a maintenance of the market? Determine the delta?
Yeah, it would be, so it would it would have a 1.5% escalator starting in year, actually it'd be I think it's year 3 for this one. And that's a 1.5% escalator.
That answer your question, Chris?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yes, go ahead, Daryl.
What I'm wondering about is there could be a really good benefit to tying into Saddleback's solar array. And I believe Tom Faderly is on the meeting. Could maybe talk now, or is that going to be a separate update, Steve?
He's next up, if you can wait for that.
Sure, most certainly. Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Is he asking a question? Ronald, do you have something you want to? I don't see your face here, so I'm not able to. Okay. Anybody else on the any questions for Nick? Thank you very much, Nick. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a great night.
Hang on, because Tom Faderly is up next for Saddleback. How are you, Tom?
Great, Steve. Thanks for the opportunity to address everybody. I appreciate it. I don't know how much folks know about the Saddleback project, but when Arcturus acquired the mountain, it acquired 6,400 acres. And on that land, there are a number of potential sites that are pretty strong that we've been investigating. There's a 34.5 kV line that we can tie into. We have filed our interconnection application with Central Maine Power, and we've begun our interconnection study with them, which really does the deep dive on the electrical engineering and sort of the interconnection costs that might be associated with the project. a lot is aligning very well, so it looks like we have a viable project. Everything Nick said makes sense, and Revision's a great company. If the town of Rangeley decided it wanted to subscribe to the project in Skowhegan, I understand that and might make some sense. Quite frankly, we would hope that the town of Rangeley would be part of the Saddleback project. Our intention is to be permitted this year and to construct in 2020. We would have an
20 or
open,
2021?
I'm sorry, yes, construction in 2021. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We would have an open book policy on our pricing. We think, I don't know what the Skowhegan project represents to you in terms of percentage savings, but we think, somewhere in the 15% range is achievable, and maybe we can do better. But we would share with you our costs of construction, as I'm sure Revision is doing on the Skowhegan project or others who might be approaching you. And it really becomes a function of what it costs to permit and construct. We would be looking for all of Rangeley's energy needs if the town were so interested, and we'd love to have you and happy to answer any questions.
How about from the public? We're all set here. We've been running down the solar path. Go ahead, Chris.
Tom, both of this and yours and Nick's projects are new to me about this. So you're looking for, I would assume with these type of projects, you're looking for a long-term commitment from the municipality or something like that in order to obviously make it economically feasible with the share, the savings would come with the share of the construction costs. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, no, so first of all, yes, it would be, we'd be looking for a long-term contract. What seems to be standard in the industry is a 20-year power purchase agreement. But we wouldn't be looking for the town to share in the risk of construction costs or development costs. We would be shouldering all of that, and we would contractually enter into this obligation to share or to sell power at the discounted rate to the town.
Would there be an advantage for the municipality partnering with that piece?
Potentially, and we'd be open to viewing that. That may open up opportunities for funding advantages if the town were a part owner, and those savings could be passed along in the form of the rate that the town would be paying for its electricity.
Well, being the fact that the municipal water sources aren't too far from the Saddleback property as well, I don't think it's a big stretch to look at having the savings on the electrical side by being a participant in your project. That's all. I'm just thinking.
Yeah,
and maybe some grant opportunities that Mr. Sterling can find for us.
Yeah, if the town's involved, it opens up a number of opportunities for Daryl to chase down. Northern Border Regional Commission being one kind of obvious one. But just to be clear, Saddleback or Terrace Saddleback play here is all about the long-term viability of the ski area. It has this wonderful asset that is Saddleback Lake that sits at the bottom of the mountain and recharges every year. So we have this ability to make a lot of snow, but it costs a lot of money to pump the water from the lake up to where you need it, which is the top of the mountain. And so its energy costs are huge. And to build a farm that allows us to offset that energy cost is going to go a long way towards the long-term viability and economic health of the ski area, which we all share in that. So that's why to us it feels like a great fit to be in this together. And we hope we can get there with you.
I think it's a phenomenal project. My stomach always got sick every month when I wrote the check to CMP. So I'm glad to see you guys are figuring out another way to do it. It's great.
It's a big bill.
Anybody else from the public got questions for? On the phone with us is Ronald Blake from Kara Bassett Solar Project. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us, Ronald? Okay, I don't think we have Ronald here. Very good.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Anything
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, so the Carabasset solar project is pretty much just starting its development cycle. We filed for our interconnection back in March. We're probably a 2021, probably first half of 2021. We're building a 5 megawatt AC project, or actually it's 4.995 megawatts. We are looking for subscriptions for the project. We actually have need for 8.4 million kilowatt hours of energy off-takers. I managed to review the town of Rangeley's load this morning, and it appears that you have a possibility of signing up with revision, which is probably going to be well ahead of our project, and it probably makes more sense to go in that direction or with Saddleback. But we're all competitors, and we all are in the main market right now and hope to fulfill our power purchase agreement. But I can't compete against, we can't compete against revision at this point because they are quite a ways ahead of us in the queue. So I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ronald. It's always good to have lots of opportunities particularly for the municipality to choose from. If you were to come back to us and said, well, shoot, we can beat 20%, we might want to wait for you. Who knows?
Yeah. You might be waiting for a year.
Yeah, I understand. But it's good to have you on. Thank you. Any questions for Ronald? Anybody here? How about anybody out there? Leanna, Chris, Jean, anybody? Okay. I want to thank you very much for the solar updates, everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody stay safe, please. I'm sure there'll be at least 3 people clicking off here in a half a second, so stay safe. Appreciate your.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Yeah, good night.
Have a nice night.
You too. Appreciate it. Overlook sidewalk modification. We're going to have a little tiny discussion here on the sidewalk project. I will get back to everybody who's on Zoom land. I'm going to have Keith fill in the Board of Selectmen, and he will speak loud and clearly for you all to hear. And then I'll circle you right back in, okay? Bye. $187,000.
With the Overlook Sidewalk project, the last bit right now is for the selectmen to approve the town's portion of $187,000 and move forward to go out to bid. With said, I know there's concern throughout the community, as I've heard it, that why put an additional sidewalk in when we can't maintain the ones we have. So that is part of the discussion. I'd like to see the Overlook sidewalk go out to bid still, understand where the price comes in at. I am working on other sidewalk portions, for instance, Allen Street to the auto parts store, getting quotes for that, which right now is roughly upwards of $65,000 to make that ADA compatible and, improve that sidewalk regards to drainage and everything. So that's kind of where we're at right now with the Overlook project. If it was approved tonight, I would email the response back to the engineer. We would go out to bid as early as this week. sidewalk from the overlook down. I don't think we'll be utilized half as much for Al Street. That's all right. Who's gonna be busier? I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend plowing in the winter. Never keep up with it. Correct. Through Big Village property, I'm gonna keep up with it. So obviously, there's a couple of factors in that project. There is, there's state money, which is $400,000 contributed to that project. Obviously, it's part of the scenic byways, so there's portions of the signs that go in that just are being implemented in that project. I know there's conversation in regards to that project also that interconnect with potential trails up to the health center, rehab locations. So just, again, more space involved in that.
I'd like to see it move forward. Yes. Which one do you want to do? The new one up towards, Scenic Boulevard. I'm kind of looking forward to see that move forward. It'd be nice to have a safe way for people to walk to our only grocery store in town. That definitely needs some fixing, but on the other hand, is the state going to fix the drainage on Main Street there, going over to Town Lake if we do the sidewalk? But the drainage there is awful.
That answer right now.
I think unless they're gonna fix the drainage, putting money into that sidewalk might be a losing battle. I'll open it up. Doug. You ready?
What's that? Okay, we've got, we've concluded our discussion here a little bit. Who's up first? Raise your hand. Daryl, go ahead.
Just for those who may not be aware, we put that grant together, of course, and it's all engineered, ready to go. And the sidewalk to the overlook is going to be an economic driver, despite what's happening now with COVID and all the uncertainty. And one of the things I've spoken with Keith and DOT and also Jack Preble from Wright Pierce, and we do a quick assessment of Allen Street sidewalk to make sure it's safe and ADA accessible, widen it where 3 feet needs to be 5 feet, and put those out separately as extra infrastructure work that needs to be done. And I've already placed a couple of calls into DECD to see if there's some possible emergency monies that we could address those problem areas this year. And then part of streetscapes and downtown improvements, we'll be putting together some additional grants to have more extensive sidewalks done. So I think it's important to still go through with the bid process work. And as they said earlier, it'll tie into trails and walkways from the health center, and this will be good for the whole region. So I think I don't want to lose sight of that, even though I know it's tough times right now when you're looking at municipal budgets.
Thank you. Anybody else? Chris?
Did I hear correctly? It's from Allen Street to the auto store. You're going to improve that section? Is that part of the scope? 65,000?
So Chris, that is in the plan still. We'd like to do that sidewalk. As one of the comments I've heard from the public, that is not in motion yet. It's an option, obviously. As Daryl just spoke, there are funds hopefully available to assist with that. I just know it's one of the public comments that I have heard regularly in regards to additional sidewalks over maintaining the sidewalks we have.
The sidewalk town's back away from the fucking road.
Yeah. Yeah, that section that I think is definitely the worst, being someone who's been walking it every day. It's, I think a lot of the issue is there was some improvements done by the state last year, I think, or the year summer before with the drainage, but they're not handling the water that's coming down from Cross Street down into that area, and it's just pooling. In fact, there's a piece of macadam about the size of a small table that's been pulled off the street and thrown in the ditch. So, I mean, I would think that before we invest too much into that, we can somehow get them on, within the states right away to properly step up and do what needs to be done there.
Thank you. David Haley, you had something to say? How are you, sir?
Not me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know you turned it on.
I can't see you, Dave. I thought I heard your voice. I'm sorry. Anybody else have anything to comment on the sidewalk aspect? All right, thank you. What do you want us to do? You want a motion for putting it out to bid? All right. I entertain a motion. All those in favor? All right, we're gonna put it out to bid, see where we go. Thank you. Next up is,
Excuse me, Steve?
yes, John.
Did anyone make a motion to authorize us to sign this agreement with MDOT? I don't know that it was mentioned, but this total project is $745,985, and the federal share is $559,488.75. I know Keith mentioned our share is $186,000, but this is quite a big project that been in the works for quite a while. And the town share was included in the needs that we had when we voted to go out to, bond an additional $3 million for all the remaining projects that had grant monies associated with it.
That's correct, John. What we did was we moved so far just to put it out to bid. And then the next motion will be for the town manager to sign.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Who seconded? Donnie? Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. We don't have Cindy on, do we? No? Okay. All righty. New business, community concerns, questions related to COVID-19. There's a lot going on here. We have some comments from select person Cindy Egan, for some guideline following, and let me read to you, please, a letter that has. I apologize right off the bat, Chris. This is not the 3.0. This is the original version. But we've been working on how to get Rangeley going and doing it safely, so on and so forth. There's been a couple of meetings regarding this, and causing some excitement. And let me just read to you what Mr. Farmer has put together. To the citizens, taxpayers, and summer guests of Rangeley. In the past 2 months, our country has seen significant changes due to the onset of COVID-19. This has resulted in guidelines being instituted specifically on a state level. Out of necessity, every individual has been required to increase awareness, change in their daily routine, and prevent the spread of this virus. Our community has served itself well. With the Rangeley Rises group, the Friends Helping Friends, led by concerned community members, various individuals have volunteered to step up to the task at hand, which included retooling our educational system, feeding our elderly, underprivileged, and autoimmune deficient, and a general concern for those in need. We have witnessed countless acts of kindness and community support. Donations have come in from our community and all around the country to support our efforts to care for those in need. Truly, This is a community who knows how to take care of its own. And for that, we as the leaders of the community, the municipality, wish to say thank you and well done. Our community, which has happened for well over 100 years. Our little community grows as our summer friends return to their homes and guests prepare to return to the region to enjoy the beauty and the loving community that we have. Some have already arrived, others are en route, and some are preparing to be here soon. Typically, with the arrival of spring, there is a hustle and bustle as we prepare for our community to increase its size and activity. Many of you have noticed the signs as you approach town reminding everyone the governor's request of a 14-day self-quarantine if you are arriving from out of state. With the onset of summer, our business owners prepare to welcome our returning members and guests from near and far. This year with COVID-19, there are concerns and many unknowns. What this is going to look like and how things are going to work. First and foremost, our leadership wishes to recognize that we are very supportive of the governor's plan for restarting the Maine economy. The governor has outlined a general plan in 4 stages, and an important note for her press conference and subsequent document outlines in page 9, paragraph 3, the stages are advanced as a framework for planning. Innovations or expanded testing and other capacity could accelerate this pace, as could a determination that certain parts of Maine, such as rural areas, may be able to ease restrictions safely. This brings us to where we are right now, planning. As the leaders of this community, our goals are to serve the needs of our community. We have been working diligently with Dr. Sheridan Oldham, our health officer, as well as various state and local agencies to begin a plan on how to best serve the needs of our citizens, taxpayers, and guests. Therefore, in an effort to plan and be educated what we can do best to guide our community, we have outlined what we consider reasonable expectations based on the current guidelines set forth to us by the state of Maine. We ask for your patience, as there is not a playbook to pull this off the shelf and follow, and things change on a day-to-day, even hourly basis. However, we strongly believe with the absence of a plan, one will form regardless. Therefore, it's important for us to work collectively as a team. To date, we have not had any confirmed cases in Rangeley. I'm going to ask you all just to bear with me on that line. Because that is something that we're going to have to change, because we can't, I'll get to that. I'll start again. To date, we have not any confirmed cases in Rangeley, and it's everyone's shared responsibility to keep the community safe as summer approaches. Respectfully submitted, Christopher C. Farmer, Esquire. First of all, I want to thank Chris for putting this together. This is a result of a meeting that business people have had recently, and it's a great starting point. He's had it reviewed by another lawyer. There are some changes to this. Specifically, that last line will change, because whether we do or whether we don't have a confirmed case in Rangeley, if we were to have a confirmed case, we can't divulge it. So we're going to scratch that line just because of HIPAA. I think I have a doctor friend, there she is, Val, would probably agree with that as well. Be that as it may, this is a starting point. It's a starting point because it's challenging everybody to help us formulate the plan. So I'm reaching out to all of you who are listening as your selectmen and to my colleagues to help us form this plan as we move forward. The impetus is behind the business people in this town, but I want to make sure there's 2 things very, very clear. Heck, I can't do this with this on. 2 things very clear. A, we are very concerned for safety, right? Make no mistake. We're concerned for safety of every individual in this town, every first responder, every healthcare professional, every nurse, every technician, the people who deliver blood back and forth from the test results at the health center to the hospital. Everybody is of concern, as is the business environment of Rangeley. That is a primary concern as well. And we are heading into our season where most of us make a large percentage of our annual income. We have to find a way to at least assure that we're safe going into it and that we can generate as much income for all the businesses in our town as we can. I have reached out to the governor And that's another forum completely, but I just want you to know safety is a primary concern. Let me turn this over to my board and see where they're at. Any comments? Tony? Okay. All right. Cindy has taken some time and put together information that we should be following. I'm going to include that in the packet that will be available shortly. I'm not saying today or tomorrow, but shortly we will have a plan that will include Cindy's suggestions as well. And I'd even be very happy to put those in front of me here. Please explain your safe practices as we put this together. They should include general sanitizing and cleaning, means to avoid direct contact, dining table settings, etc. That part's specific, obviously, to restaurants. And then restrooms, by reservations only. Those are her concerns. Then there are other, out in the fresh air, lakes, streams, mountains are open for your enjoyment. To enjoy your stay here to the fullest, we ask that you do the following. Her suggestions are bring your own disinfectant wipes and hand sanitizer. Our small local IGA across the grocery, builder supply, hardware stores have not been delivered their requested ordered amounts and they're usually out of supply. Grocery shop in a way, on your way to Rangeley at a larger store. Again, our local grocery store does not receive the products. Enjoy our local restaurants, stores, and lodging on their terms. Our chamber website provides information for each business. I'm paraphrasing. Please feel free to use our assorted sanitation stations found throughout Rangeley and Apposik. Our public restrooms in Rangeley are open for public use. Maintain a 6-foot distance, wear your face mask, which I'll put back on in a moment. And please cover your coughs and sneezes, etc. I want to thank everybody. Keep them coming. I was asked to be careful about putting my number up there. I'm going to make it available again. Call me. Tell me what your concerns are. I'll pass it along to the board. I'll write it down. I'll get it into the plan if it's feasible. And I'll make sure that your voices are heard, as will my colleagues. I don't hear anybody behind me say, no, we won't. Okay. Anything else on that? Let me get back to my agenda here, which I lost. And never open up this binder. All right. Rangeley Health and Wellness. What number will we end in here? We talked about your duck race, Gene. Anything else? No, you all set? Leanna, anything from you from the health center? Okay, hold on. You're all set? All righty. I got a head shake, everybody who can't see her. Very good. Stand by. Okay, RFA, anything from the RFA? Val, are you there?
Yep,
You're on,
I'm on. Can you hear me?
I can, yep.
Okay, so we submitted a letter to you. Do you want to read it? Do you want me to read it for everybody else?
Go ahead. Why don't you read it while I'm putting my booklet back together here?
Okay. So, dear Town of Rangeley Selectmen, the RFA's mission is to bring the arts to life. And Rangeley's unique and special place in the RFA, and RFA is a big part of this. We are looking for ways we can safely serve the citizens and our guests. Anybody's got ideas, please let me know. The RFA is planning to follow the guidelines outlined by Governor Mills, and we hope to open June 1st when we can have 50 people in groups. We'll plan to limit the groups to 50 people, maintain social distancing. We'll have sanitizer and masks. We've got at least the beginnings ordered. I don't know about refills, but at least we've got the beginnings ordered. Our concession employees will have masks and gloves. We definitely should be able to show movies, have art gallery openings, children's day camps, and small stage performances. The main reason I say movies, where even though they say theaters can't open, we are not really a theater. We are an art center, and our usual movie attendance is less than 20 people. So it's very easy to skip rows and, block off rows so people always are more than 6 feet apart in the theater. We'll hand out masks. We've got masks in process of getting made. So everybody who comes in can get a free, reusable, washable mask. What we're looking for is guidance from the town and hopefully permission, because it's really a interpretation, is for the larger stage performances, which were planned for July and August. If the stage can be considered a separate area from the audience, because they never cross paths, and the actors, performers stay backstage and will be masked when they're backstage close to one another. But on the stage, our biggest cast, pleasantly planned, is for Sweeney Todd, and that's going to have 27 people. And then with additional 10 crew members, that's 37 people. That'll be 13 people in the audience if we have 50. So if we can consider this, but the actors don't ever have to come into contact with the audience. They're separated. So if we can have the stage be 50 people and the audience be 50 people and nobody ever cross paths, then we could have at least some audience and some performances, because it isn't just, and we don't bring people in. Our casts are all local people. I mean, they're people you see all the time in town. And it gives them an outlet of things to do for fun for the summer, and the audience likes to come. The seats will be at a premium because obviously we usually fill up and we won't be able to do that. There'll be 50 people in the audience. But at least we'll get, and we won't be making any money, but at least we'll have fun. And that's sort of the point of the RFA, because we want to be able to still serve this community and have fun. So we're looking for guidance on that. And then the last thing is, regarding the street dance, which is planned for July 15th, that will be, it's obviously outside. It's usually people are fairly well spread out, and with social distancing, people can pay attention to that and stay spread out. Music can be heard all over town, so you don't have to crowd in. So we just get some idea of what the town feels like for those things. Because at that point, we'll be in 50 people crowd limit.
Thank you, Bob. As it stands right now, I'll just talk about what we can do currently. And that's none of the above for you.
Right. We're
in terms of guidance going into the future, as I stated earlier, there is a movement pushing forward at a reasonably good pace right this minute, to try to get us to be able to do some of these things. But there was an indication from Augusta today that there's going to be some new guidelines this coming Wednesday, and we'll see where we flush out with that in terms of our abilities in the future. But that doesn't mean we're out of it yet, because as I said earlier, we're still attempting to try to get Augusta to listen to the plight of Rangeley and how our plan, when it's fully conceived, will help her manage rural Maine. And that's what we are, is rural Maine. So I don't know that answered any of your questions. I'll just turn around and see if anybody else has some thoughts. We can't what? Yeah. They very much agreement. We can't answer the questions right now.
Fine.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Nobody wants this town open more than I do, but I want it done safely, as I'm sure every single one of us do. So
right. Just put forward these.
We're working forward towards that, Val.
When you take these concerns with you when you discuss things, that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else on the RFA hands? If you're okay, good. Good. Thank you. Next up is We have Rebecca Carmichael Austin here with us to answer any questions. I had asked the department heads if they couldn't come up with some cuts to help us all through this. I mean, if we don't have, God forbid, we don't have a summer, it'll be hard to pay our taxes. So they have been working hard, and I'm going to ask Rebecca to come up, have a seat, explain this. We're all masked up in here, by the way. I can show you. Everybody's got masks on. You can see them all back there. Yep. Rebecca Carmichael Austin.
Hi, everyone. So I took the tax rate calculator and I was running some numbers.
Need to be closer, can't hear you.
Back up. I'm gonna take my mask off.
Yeah, go ahead.
How about that? Wow. So I took the tax rate calculator, looked at some preliminary numbers, and they are preliminary. And with some cuts that were made with the department heads. We looked at $70,322 in cuts and using $200,000 from our surplus. By doing this, you're looking at a decrease of 13.95 to about 13.58. Really not that big of a difference in our mill rate. We do have some more cuts. The library, the code enforcement officer is going to cut his part-time position out of his budget. Some other things that we can do though, homestead exemptions. There's a lot of people who are living here full-time that do not take advantage of the homestead exemption. So we're thinking about going through the commitment book, looking to see those full-time residents, sending them an application, having them fill it out. They would get, with the way it is right now, a reduction of $348.75 in their tax bill. They took advantage of the homestead exemption. Just a little something to help them out. There will be an increase in homestead of $5,000. So that'll help tax bills. It's an extra $69.75 in tax bills. So there's little things here and there that we are looking at and trying to do to help our taxpayers get a reduction in their taxes. The new valuation has not been put in yet, so we have a lot of new valuation that needs to go in. And another thing to look at is the state is saying that we're estimated about 92,000 in revenue sharing. That's probably not going to happen with all of this going on, and need to kind of hold out for a little while to see what's going to happen in the next month and look at what percent we need to reduce that possible revenue. So just kind of playing with numbers, trying to reduce what we can, where we can, and get our mill rate down as much as possible. Anybody have any questions?
Hold on, Chris, let me unmute you here. There you go, Chris.
Chris, you have to unmute.
Oh, there you go.
I was waiting for her to call on me, so. For once, trying to be good.
Oh, stop it. We were trying to unmute you.
Yeah. All right. What about the overlay zone? I mean, that's always the one I talk about. That's the slush fund that gets put in that does the balancing. That's in the past for the select boards use that to kind of keep the mill rate the same. You know how much was put in there for this fiscal year and what is proposed for that? Because that to me always ends up being between 70,000 and 250,000 and isn't usually touched. So have you looked at just eliminating that for this year and leaving us at the raw mill rate?
The overlay, it's only been that high maybe once since I've been here. Typically we keep it around between 20,000 and 30,000. Try to keep our overlay at that. And the numbers that I ran, again, the preliminary numbers, because we still don't have the revenue sharing number yet or the new valuation, but I have an overlay for one was 21,278 and the other one was 22,849, so not high at all.
What about do we have any other major purchases that were budgeted for this year that we could look at putting off, vehicles?
We
those
took
type of
them out.
things? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? We're still moving forward to help with the taxes. So you can understand that. Thank you. Anything from you? All set? Okay. Next up, signage. Let me unmute my friend Kate. And where's Laura? There you are. Ladies, welcome.
Welcome.
Laura.
That's okay.
Laura, you're going to have to unmute yourself.
Got it.
Okay, there you go. Go ahead, ladies.
So we just wanted to give a quick update from the Rangeley Region Economic Opportunity Committee. As you know, we've been working on the downtown improvement plan and trying to implement some of those recommendations, and one of them was signage. We had put some money in the budget for this year for downtown signage. We also are working with the Rangeley Lakes Heritage Trust and the Scenic Byways Program. That's in conjunction with the Maine Department of Transportation. And we asked for a grant, a $35,000 grant that we've applied for. So in your packet, you should have received what the signs are tentatively looking at right now, where it's a rough draft. So we're still, and the locations of the signs. And those are wayfinding signs all the way from all the entrance points into Rangeley and then in downtown Rangeley as well. And we just wanted to know if you had any questions about that.
Everybody's saying they look great. They like them.
Okay, good.
They
Just
do.
to be
They look wonderful.
Yeah, to be clear, the entire sign project, we are estimating to be about $150,000. We have a $35,000 grant that we have placed. We have $30,000 in the budget for this coming year, if that would still stand. And then we're also going after some grants through the Scenic Byways and looking for funding for them for the remainder. So the total project would be 150, but we feel we can implement it in phases. And phase one, we can implement this year if we get the grants.
And what part of the signages would be phase 1, 2, and 3, or however?
The whole signs, it would be depending on where we implement the signs, but most of the downtown signs would be implemented in phase 1. Some of the exterior outside coming in signs would also be phase 1, and then the fill-in, some of the fill-in signs getting closer would probably be phase 2.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? How about from Zoom land? Anybody out there? Questions? Raise your hand if you do. Daryl, go ahead.
Want to commend Kate and Laura and the signage committee for doing great work on this to get this rocking and rolling. Thank you.
You're a true politician. I didn't even get a chance to thank them yet. All right, very good. Thank you to Daryl. We do appreciate all your committee's doing. Thank you very much. It's a tough time to pull this in, but
Steve, just one more thing. I know it's just an update right now, and I know there's a lot of challenges ahead of us, but one thing that this might have really showed us with the COVID-19 is our need for broadband and our cell service. So of course, we've been focusing on implementing those services throughout the area and getting grants and funding. We're of course hoping that there'll be more federal funding for those. But as you know, there's been some projects presented to the town. So we would make sure that we would like to make sure those are not dropped, that they're still considered moving forward, and to make sure the town is committed to looking at it as a whole package.
thank you. Thank you.
In our package this week, we get a magazine called Maine Management. It explains a lot of what's going on
Right there.
with the state of Maine. Well, one of the things in there on the cover, actually, from Rhodes Bluffs, which is a cool town up by Harrington. I know it well. We used to sell that up there. 300 people in this town. They just got an $895,000 grant for broadband in. So there's money out there, and you know, and they don't have the businesses that we do that need it, or the people, they just, those specific people. And, so I'm just, you know, off the top of my head thinking, well, if there's money out there for this, maybe we can try to find some.
I'll get that magazine to you tomorrow. You tell me where you are, I'll bring it to you, and you can
Okay.
read about it.
Can you ask Donnie one quick question on that? Does he know, was that a USDA grant?
I don't know where it came from. It was a government grant, but I don't know.
Yep.
Probably. I read the article, but it's not-
I'll get that magazine to you tomorrow and let you know where it's from.
Okay, thank you.
Sound good?
Mhm.
Any other questions for our Economic Development Committee? Co-chairs. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Town Manager's Report. We received reports from the Police Department, the Fire Department, and the Code Enforcement Officer. Those reports, incidentally, are available to you, I believe, on our website, correct? Okay, well, make a request at the town office and Tracy can email them to you. Timeline for a secret ballot for the town meeting of July 14th is where we're at now. We have a proposed possible public hearing via Zoom, May 11th at 6 p.m. Again, proposed. The budget nonprofits and the Route 17 overlay and Depot Street. We haven't forgot about any of them, but we got to figure out how to be able to do this under the legal approach for public meetings. This clearly, in my estimation, with the Zoom meeting, is not going to handle what we should have for a public hearing, but be that as it may. August 19th, elected officials workshop in Rangeley. Anything else you want to talk about? Right. We had made a proposal to MMA last week suggesting that if we came up with a format to keep everybody socially distanced, 10 feet apart, 6 feet apart, whatever that magic number is, in the town park, could we hold a town meeting there? They said no, couldn't be done. Not legally anyways. So we're still struggling with that. Stay tuned. August 19th, elected officials workshop in Rangeley. That's to be determined. Yeah, we have the governor's in our possession. That's available to you as well. How to restart Maine's economy and the 4 phases that she's put out. That's available here. I suggest you go online if you can, grab it, read it. Any questions on that from the public? Board? Yes. Okay. Come on up. No, I can't hear you well enough back there, so. It's not in my packet. So.
Try to do is we try to have the planning board have
Yeah.
their public hearings at 5, and then y'all can have your public hearings at 6. So we can wrap this stuff up.
Okay, I'm just reading what I got. So,
Yep.
okay, so we're gonna go 5 and then 6.
5 for the planning board.
Gotcha.
It was a tentative motion based on
Okay.
the selectmen approving. That's a date we brought up whenever last.
All right, so let's take a motion and get this thing in gear. You want to do it? Want to try it with a Zoom meeting? Is everybody comfortable with that? Better than nothing. Make a motion. At 6
PM by Zoom.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ethan Schaefer has made a motion to hold a public hearing via Zoom on May 11th at 6 PM. The planning board will be going at 5 o'clock on that same day, obviously via Zoom. And it's been seconded. Any questions? You all, I mean, there's nothing else we can really try, so we've got to do it this way. All in favor? Okay, move. Call everybody you can for getting on that Zoom meeting. You're going to need it. Other business, restarting Maine's economy, I mentioned that. Okay, we're good with select board communications. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. We have to go into executive session. I'm sorry, hold on.
It would be a select board meeting for y'all to meet. We're having a public hearing for them to make changes. And after the 11th, you don't need to set another date so you can finalize it, make the votes.
We can do it on that night.
I just wanted to.
What should we go into executive session?
No.
No?
That's canceled. That was an FYI.
Okay, no executive session. Hang on 1 second, folks. Mhm. We're good. All right, folks, we're going to entertain a motion to adjourn, and I appreciate all your participation. Okay, second, all in favor, good? Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Mark, Ron. Thank you, John, Mark. June, appreciate it. Billy, thank you. Leanna. David Haley, Ethna, thank you.
How do you shut it off?
That's over?
Yeah.
Yeah.